Welcome to the Did You See That Sports Podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to Cleveland sports and those Did You See That moments that you text your buddies about. I'm Colton. This is Ryan. Let's dive right into it. All right, cool. Well, let's just hop into it. Today was one of those days that is part of the reason we brought this podcast together in the first place. Me and Ryan were texting a little bit about what we wanted to talk about on the show, and Woj hit us with one of his legendary Woj bombs. Ryan, go ahead and give us the news. What did we get today?
Yeah, now starting in the backcourt court for the Cleveland Cavs is Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
And if you would have listened to the podcast earlier, you would have heard Colton's almost dead-on trade scenario. So why don't you work through that trade, what you had put out there, and then we'll kind of break it down.
All right, so from the lost pod that nobody was allowed to see.
I'll testify. This was said.
There was a lot of things said, and we're going to keep referencing it. Donovan Mitchell for Colin Sexton. I had a 3-year, $74 million sign-in trade, so I'm a little bit more on the heavy side of the contract there. They got a free year out of him. I had Chetty with 2 years, 7.5 left. I had 2 seconds and a first that was top 5 protected, and I was very, very light on all of those picks, as Ryan called that in the podcast. He said there's no way that he goes for less than a couple first-rounders at least. And he's dead on. He went for 3 and 2 swaps.
Yeah, so here's my question. So did we give up too much to get Mitchell? How do you see this trade right now?
You can only play 5 guys at a time. And if we're taking the 3 that we threw back, 1 didn't play all of last year. 1 didn't play half of last year or the year before. And the other's a rookie. So I think trading that and some future assets we don't even know what they are yet for a guy that I think is a pretty bona fide all-star to pair with 2 all-stars and a rookie of the year candidate is one killer move by Kobe Altman.
Yeah. When I think about NBA trades, I always go to who got the best player. And when you look through the history of the NBA, when people put together nickels, dimes, and quarters to get that full dollar, it rarely ever works out. So for us to give up Sexton, who we just gave praise to, we were supporters of Sexton, and to flip him and turn him into Donovan Mitchell, who's under contract, who's only 25, about to turn 26. I think that's going to be a win for us. My favorite part of the deal is getting off of marketing. I can't tell you. He is a ticking time bomb. I don't see him playing plus 60 games again. I don't see him.
But salute to Lori for all of your service. Great year last year. Your last year is what got us Donovan. So I appreciate you so much.
Yeah. And this is what I thought we should have done with Love, was sell high. So we could do it with marketing is a banger. The only thing I would have changed if I could have is if we could have got out from LeVert. And I don't know if there's a way we could have packaged LeVert in this to get Bogdanovich back. The salaries match, but Bogdanovich has 1 less year, so I think that's why Utah wanted to hold on to him. But, he's a young guy that Utah could have built around, and we need the shooting. So I wish we could have worked that out. But, hey, at the end of the day, we get Spider Mitchell, who has some gaps, but I think the ceiling is pretty high on. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. Kobe Altman's been great to us, honestly, over the years since he's taken the reins over from since he's taken the reins over his first season, he had however many trades that one winter. Do you remember? We were texting nonstop.
I don't.
It was like bang, bang, bang. It was just one after another. He was rolling, trying to get LeBron a team that could win. And the way he's consistently gone after the best available talent, whether we are the shittiest of teams or not, or at least being in on every single trade where a top player is going somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, Jarrett Allen, the fact that we have him is a testament to how good of a GM he is, right? So
yep.
I think that one, we should throw and lob a ton of praise onto Kobe, and then from there, I mean, this team is gonna be so fun.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so
So
excited.
let's talk about that. So we're looking at the team. So who's the most important person on the team now? I've got my person, and you're not going to guess him.
Okay, I'm gonna say Mobley. I think that it's going to. He's Tim Duncan. He's going to be the glue. You know, I think that he's the guy that's going to be able to stretch the floor as a giant and play the defense that's going to be needed with these guards. Who's your guy?
JB Bickerstaff. He
You're right, I
has
wouldn't
to
have guessed
get
it.
Donovan to play defense like the rest of the team is, and he's got to be willing to get him to buy into the system. Because if he doesn't do that, I don't know how well this fits out. But if he does, if he can get them to buy in and play defense, because the guy's got a crazy wingspan. The guy can play defense. He's athletic as all get out. I think it's going to be a great fit. And when you look at, we're losing about 26 shot attempts from last year when you take Markkanen and Sexton out of the lineup. And Donovan usually averages the last couple of years right around 20 attempts. So that still leaves 6 attempts left over where Donovan can get his normal share. And then you got to figure Mobley's going to get a couple more shots this year. You got to think Garland's going to take a couple more shots. So I think it fits in, and he's going to be able to get his points and his opportunities. But is he going to play defense?
That's a risk worth taking. I think there's a lot of guards in the NBA that can get toasted and not play defense, and if their team can back them up, that would be great. There's going to be, if Okoro takes a step, especially just defensively, we needed the offense, but at this point, with this trade, we don't as much need that offense. We need a heavy D with the 3, right? Like a shot from the corner, but a guy that's able to step in when Donovan Mitchell's going over top the screen. I think that Mobley is going to have to be a giant defensive player too, and then Allen. We've got our twin towers, so if you're going into the lane, you're gonna catch some flack, right? If you get Donovan to play the defense well, this team is like watch out good,
Okay, yeah, and I think we'll get to that point. I guess here's my question: are the Cavs really better?
Yes.
Than they were?
Yeah, definitely. You don't think so?
I don't know. I just don't see it.
The playoff experience Donovan's going to bring is awesome. I like his clutch. Like his clutch is fun. Garland's clutch is fun, right? So they both have this. We have 2 guys that I think could hit a shot whenever they need to, sort of deal, and that have that sort of like fight in them. Donovan, I've seen do it. Like he's had some of the most fun playoff games I've watched in the last couple of years, and he has a real dueling aspect to him. But Garland, if he comes in and is able to take that Curry style step, which people they've been comparing him to Curry the last couple of years. If he can start hitting threes from the range that he is in the highlight videos and out in the park, like we're in for some fun.
Yeah, here's my answer. I don't know how much better we are this year, but it's next year. So this year, I think we make playoffs. And like you said, Donovan's been in the playoffs every year that he's been in the league. That's a big thing for us because we don't have guys that have been in that situation. So I think we get some playoff experience this year. He's under a great contract. All of our guys are under a great contract, especially with the cap about to go up. So we're in a good spot there. And then you spoke to Donovan's numbers. So in the playoffs, he shoots about the same, 37% from 3. Free throw percentage, he's at an 87, up from his normal 83. He gets about a half rebound more per game, or right around 5 rebounds. He's about the same assists, 4.5, but he's scoring almost 5 more points a game than in the playoffs than the regular season. He's got a 57-point game under his belt, and 19 of his 40 playoff games are over 30 points. And that's what we couldn't do last year, is we couldn't score.
Yep.
So I think he just spreads the floor for us. And he's played 2 seasons with Rubio. So I'm interested to see that lineup. I'm interested to see Donovan get back off ball a little bit and make things easier. And I like to see Garland off ball a little bit more, to be honest. I think he can play both roles.
Yeah, I think he can too. You mentioned Rubio. Let's let's just run the roster because I thought it was interesting today.
Yeah.
I threw it out there. So we got our starters. We've got Darius Garland, we've got Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Right. We go
Wait,
to
you got Okoro in the starting?
That's what I was seeing today. He is the starting at 3.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if it's gonna be Okoro or if they're gonna put LeVert there.
Yeah, that's fair. In the lineups that I saw, it had Okoro in the starting, and then a lot of those also said with LeVert as like 6-man esque leading second team sort of deal. Which
Yeah.
personally I would love. I mean, put him in the corner as much as you can. I don't have any love for LeVert. This is just not a fun love sort of podcast for LeVert. But with this addition, hopefully he's less needed and less necessary. If we move to the bench, here's who we have: Rubio, LeVert, Osman, Love, Lopez. And then we have a handful of extras that who knows who will be up and down and whatever when the season starts. But we have the big brother Mobley. We've got Dean Wade. We've got Lamar Stevens. We've got Dylan Windler and Raul Neto. So we'll see if any of those guys actually make the team. But it's a pretty deep bench, at least for the immediate backup to the starting 5.
Yeah, I agree, and I think an underrated signing was Robin Lopez. That's not going to get a whole bunch of clippings and make a lot of noise, but he's a good guy, a good locker room guy, and he's going to give you some strong minutes, and we're going to need some bodies. Mobley's still pretty small, thin guy, and we're going to need some bodies in there, especially losing Marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. How does Windler play out? How does Wade play out? Does Jetty get out of the doghouse? And then, is it Stevens? I think Stevens might be the starting 3, to be honest.
He might. And if he comes back and is like, slap the floor defensive, ready to roll, he very well might be.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to see, but it's nice to have that option. It's nice that you're looking at it and you're like, ooh, we have some fun, pieces around the corners.
You know who plays the 3? LeBron James. I'm only saying that because that's what everyone's going to start writing. But obviously, I don't think that's going to happen.
So, you sprinkled it out there. You sprinkled out. We don't have to go down the path, but I do have a question. Are we done? Are we done? Going into the season.
Done moving pieces?
Done moving pieces. Are we done? We have the Kevin Love contract. We have a LeVert that doesn't seem to fit as well as he would have a second ago, but sure, he's there. And we have, a young guy in Okoro that could be a piece that goes too. So is there any other piece out there that's worth going and getting?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point you start the season and you see what happens. Because this team's built long-term, it doesn't make sense at this point now to leverage some of your depth for a win now. I think you've got a really great foursome under contract, looking good, all young. So I think you just play it out at this point and you don't do anything crazy.
That's fair. I think I'm with you. I think if we are blowing the brakes off people and it's like, wow, this is insane mid-season, we look to package some pieces together and add another, whatever's out there for the next step. Or if it's really gelling like it was last year, I think, Rubio, it can't be understated what he meant to that team before the injury. Like, yep. If you're asking me, I think he was the engine that was running the entire thing. He got these guys up and running and said, hey, listen, we can do this. He was the thing that turned it around as much as the young guys growing up. He was the one that said they could,
I think it was the him and Love combination. He made Love re-energized, and Love played well with him and for him. So I'm interested if they can recreate that magic again. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. So, where do we stack up in the East? Where do you have us at? No more trades, no more additions. Where are we at right now, walking into the season?
I haven't looked at the board.
Well, I do. I'll give you mine.
You give me mine. Run down your board, and I'll see how close we are.
Okay, I've got the better than us category. The Celtics, the Bucks, the Nets.
Better than all those.
Okay. These are probably better than us. 76ers. I think they've got some holes, but I think they're still better than us. I
We'll
don't
see
know
what
how
James Harden is.
Embiid is a monster.
Yeah.
He's a nightmare. I've got the Heat probably better than us. I know they're a year older, but they've got some real experience, and they are just dogs.
Yeah. And they like it. You know, they want to be that. And
Yeah.
what if Tyler Hero is good? You know?
And he was good. He played a good
He was.
six-man role for them.
He can be, you know, he can do it again. And that team, they were a little salty. There was the tweets coming out of Hero when the Mitchell trade went down. So we'll see if that impacts it.
He is not good at getting tattoos. If you've seen his chest piece, feel free to Google that or put a clip up after. But yeah, not good at getting tattoos, but good at being a six-man. And then I have on our level, Hawks and Bulls.
I think that we would be at the top of the Hawks and Bulls. I think we're arguably in the tier right above that, right? The are they maybe better than us tier? I think we're in that one.
Okay, so that puts us as a 6 seed.
Yeah,
if that's what you're saying. So I think us and the Hawks are gonna, if the Hawks really pull it together, and you see Javonte Murray make a move for them and help them get together and play better defense. I mean, they beat us. They knocked us out of the play-in, right? So, or knocked us to the next level. So, I don't know. I think we're in that level. So, I still see us as a 7 or an 8 seed probably. But you never know the NBA. Injuries could happen. Anything could happen. Plus, I think you'd agree we played over our head last year.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a very similar record, if not a little bit higher. But I think the jump is the following year.
That's fair. I think things always happen so much faster than they seem in the NBA. You know, by the middle of this season, it could feel like 100 years. And last year, like you said, we were playing above our heads, and they ran on fumes into that play-in game. Like, that team had nothing left in the tank. It was done. So even if they won, they were heading to a round just to get slaughtered right after that. That team had nothing left in the tank. If we could pace ourselves, if the depth can hang around, you know, I think if injuries just absolutely obliterated our guards last year, if we can hang on to the Rubio, Garland, Mitchell, LeVert, have all a Raul Neto take off a couple minutes of those guys every night so you don't have to have them on the floor all the time. I could see this team really competing. You know, I think Donovan Mitchell brings the edge, and that's why they made the move that says not just, hey, we're going to be happy with the playoffs this year, but let's go kick some ass. You know, I'm not saying we're going to win the East, but I'm saying we could play spoilers. I mean, the Hawks made it to the conference finals a couple years ago. I can see that sort of path.
Okay. Yeah. My two what ifs are, what if Donovan really brings the fire and says, hop on my back. I've been here before. This is how we're going to do it. When we're down 10 with 4 minutes left, he's got the gunfire to make it happen. And the biggest what if is, how big of a jump is Mobley from last year to this year?
Yeah.
Because that dude is special in a lot of different ways. And what if he's our defensive stopper? What if he's out there locking down whoever's wing? What if he's on Jason Tatum with 2 minutes left? I mean, that could make us very scary. So, ceiling, I think we get a 3 seed. We make a little run. My hope is that we make the playoffs and we get 1 or 2 rounds of experience under our belt, and then we make some shrewd moves going into the next season, keep the team together, and move on. From the trade, Utah believes that we are not holding on to Donovan Mitchell outside of this contract.
Right.
That the way they structured it, they don't believe Donovan's going to stick around after this contract's up.
I think it all depends on where we go over the next 2 years. You know, winning solves a lot of problems, as many people in sports have said before. So if they can be successful, why wouldn't he stay? The money's going to be the highest here.
Yeah, yep. I hope he does. I mean, I've liked Donovan. I liked his game. I think he's fun to watch. You know, like I said on the last pod, I don't know what he would have done for New York or Washington, because we talked about those two teams as suitors. But I think he can make an impact in Cleveland, not because I'm a Cleveland homer. I really think that he can do something for this roster that we weren't going to get out of the other two guys. So
yeah, and at the very least, it puts us in contention like we weren't yesterday, you know, and I think that's a fun thing all around. We're heading into the season with a little bit more of a boost than a lot of other teams have. Can we sustain it? We're going to see.
Did you see Windhorse's story that he released? Yeah, he put that he found out on the golf course. Mitchell found out on the golf course and started running around. He was so excited.
No, I did not. I saw the immediate tweet from Garland that said Tin and Spida, which I liked
Yeah.
a lot, and then I saw the quote tweet from Donovan that was like, "Hell yeah!" And I'm like, "Go on, we're doing it. It's happening."
Yep. Let's go.
So we have a guest that's going to be popping on tonight, possibly. Do you want to pop to the guest? Do you want to do another segment, or what are we thinking?
I say let's bring him in. Let's throw him to the fire. I know we've got a couple other things we want to go through tonight, so let's see what he thinks. Maybe he's smarter than us. So
Okay, cool.
Let's spread the knowledge.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and this is Chase Winters. He's got the homage hat on for us, and he's about to drop us some knowledge. Welcome aboard and hit us with a "Did you see something?"
Did I see something? Well, I didn't see anything. Did I see this coming? Probably. Obviously you can't give up Colin Sexton for nothing because Colin Sexton is valuable.
Yes.
Valuable, like enough to throw in, I don't know, 3 first-round picks and some pick swaps and Lauri Markkanen for Donovan Mitchell? Maybe. It depends on how all-in you are on winning. To be fair, not to just completely throw this guy under the bus, but if you wanted to place any blame on a poor performance last year going into the play-in against the Hawks, it's obviously Karis LeVert who let Trae Young drop like 30 points on him.
Yeah,
Karis LeVert will never be on this podcast.
He's never
we
gonna
kill
come
him every time.
It's just I never want to completely throw someone under a bus just because
he doesn't play defense or pass.
But they're still playing the game, and they're doing it more than I'll ever do because I'm just a person sitting here looking at stats on my computer and like reading about how valuable I think they are to a team. But he's
bad. He's bad. He's bad at being a team.
He's a bad fit.
I don't want to say he's bad. I'm going to say he's the best guy that'll be coming off the bench next year. That's what I'll say about him, and that's good enough for me and good enough for him probably. I don't know.
That's
whatever.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
I really liked Lauri Markkanen in the starting 5. I thought having 3 guys that were like 7 feet tall was a really good idea. It really slowed the pace of play down. It sucks to lose him. That sucks.
But
losing Collins, honestly, whatever.
Do you think he's going to repeat that season, though? Do you think he's going to play 60-plus games and score 15 points?
Well, obviously not. He was the reason that it worked out so well was because of the core of that Cavs team and the way that they rotated players in and out.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, when Lauri Markkanen came into the league and everyone thought, oh, this guy's going to be kind of like a unicorn. He's kind of going to be kind of like Kristaps. He was on the Bulls, and he played like a handful of games, and we're just like, oh, we're banking all on the potential of this guy. It's all potential. It's all what if this guy comes back healthy? What if he shoots the lights out? What if he's good? I like the idea of Lauri Markkanen. The actual execution of Lauri Markkanen was perfect last year. Would we get that again? Probably not.
That's fair. For the record, I want to state that I like the idea of Karis LeVert, but I do not like watching Karis LeVert play basketball. Anyways, Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that Markkanen landed in the perfect spot. He didn't have to go down and bang a ton. He could stay out on the wing where he liked to play in space. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the reason that he stayed as healthy as he did and played as well as he did. He got a lot of matchups where the smaller 3 was playing him instead of the bigger 4. And so I don't know where he fits into that Utah lineup, but I think he's going to struggle to stay healthy next year. So I loved getting off of him while we could.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that's a question mark in this trade for me is the Rook, sending out the Rook. It's, that's always a big one because you never know 5 years from now when you look back and you go, oh shit, we just traded an all-star for free. But we don't know. You never take the question mark in the NBA. In the earlier segment, Chase, before you popped in, Ryan made a great point. And when you look at NBA trades, you always want to see who got the best player. They probably won the trade, especially at the time. And we definitely won the trade today, and whether or not Donovan leaves within 4 years, this thing can go a lot of ways, but for at least the next year, at least this season and probably next season, we have a fun core.
Yep, agreed.
I like the fun part. Mm-hmm. It's fun. I don't want to call it winning. You can't call it a win if you haven't seen it in action. I like the idea of Donovan Mitchell playing alongside Darius Garland because we were making Darius Garland play that position that we want Donovan Mitchell to take. I don't think Darius Garland needs to take 20 shots a game. It's more fun to see him do that when he plays by himself. But you know that Donovan Mitchell can take 20 to 30 shots a game. You know you can rely on him. You can lean on him. We can quit talking about this whenever you want, but I just want to throw this in here. So months back, the Jazz also traded Rudy Gobert. For Rudy Gobert, the Jazz got Malik Beasley, who's a pretty good player. He's got lots of ups and downs. There's lots of ups and downs. When he's hot, and when he's bad, he's bad. They also got Patrick Beverley, who obviously was moved on and now plays for the Lakers, whatever, who cares. They got a rookie in Walker Kessler. They got another guy, I don't know who that is, and Jared Vanderbilt. So that's 4 players. You can count at 5, but Patrick Beverley wasn't going to ever play there.
Yeah, so Vanderbilt and Beverley were both starters.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they also got 4 first-round picks.
Yeah.
For Gobert.
So who's older and paid more.
So they got 2 extra players. They got an extra first, right? Then did they get any swaps in that one too?
1 swap.
1 swap. So they got a swap. They got 2 out of us. So I'm thinking that, out of those 2 trades, the one they did then and the one they did today, Colin Sexton's by far the best player they got back. They did the sign and trade. He's going to be their player for the next couple of years. I don't think there's any, second best player in that deal very well might be Vanderbilt. And then the third could very easily be the rook coming from our side if he plays well, which is fun.
I'm fully on board with saying the rook that they got from us could be the best player because we don't even know how he's going to play.
Yeah, well, they got 2 first-round lottery picks off of the trades this year. So
you have 2 picks from this year that have never played a single second in the NBA. So that's a steal. That's an absolute steal in my end. But then you also have, what is that, 7 first-round picks in the near future, and then all those swaps.
Yeah, they have 13 total right now that are unprotected or lightly protected.
That's just Oklahoma City right there. They're just stacking up all the potential of what if we snag all of these young guys. It's just a rebuild without even thinking about what else you can do, because obviously what the Jazz were doing wasn't working. It didn't work. It never has worked. It got them somewhere, but the last time they were relevant, they had a guy named AK-47 on their team, and that was when Darren Bones played.
No. Oh, come on now. Now they've got a formula, right? They draft these young guys, they build a team, they're scrappy. But hey, it's hard to keep them. I mean, they just can't re-sign those big max players. They're going after Wembanyama. I mean, that's who they're building this treasure chest for. They want to hit on that one, and it looks like that's the plan.
They very well might. So Chase, when you hopped in, I figured we'd do a little bit at least of the trade talk, because it's a big day here in Ohio for all the Cavs fans out there. It's a fun one, and I'm excited that we even have this podcast for stuff just like this. Something to kind of pivot. Let's go into the NFL world. Ryan, you had a did you see that from this week that I think is going to be a fun one to talk about. I'll hand you over the mic.
Yeah, the did you see that I had was the "I'm going to fuck them up" quote by Baker Mayfield. So it was reported, and then it's been reported that was a private conversation and they shouldn't have reported it. But either way, it's been said. We know it. We know he thought it. And I just wanted to talk about Baker Mayfield. because, you get on these message boards and you read the stuff and it's like people love Baker and they're never watching the Browns again because he got traded. And then you've got other people that say this dude was a dumpster fire and he never should have been a quarterback in the NFL. And I just don't feel like it's either one of those. I really liked Baker when we had him. The dude was fiery. I loved every second of that when he's running down the field and telling Hugh Jackson to suck it as he throws touchdown after touchdown on the Bengals. I love that part. And then at the same time, he couldn't keep the ball under control. He couldn't hit wide open receivers. He turned the ball over against the Packers in stupid situations. But the dude was a warrior. He played hurt when other people would have not played. So I think we should just give him his due. This is the time we should talk about it. He got us to the playoffs. We won a game with him at quarterback. And he was good, but he was not good enough for us to win a Super Bowl, and we had to make a change. So I don't know. We've talked about Baker before, but not on the pod. So go ahead and lay me on what you think about Baker. I still like him. I hope he does good. I just hope he doesn't do good on week 1.
Baker, this is who Baker Mayfield is. That comment, I don't even know who could be mad if you saw it. It's like, well, of course he said that, right? We saw him. You said the suck it comment to Hugh Jackson. This is who he is. It's why we loved him the whole time. I wasn't mad at all. I would have been more surprised if he came out, just huggy and nice for the first week. Oh, no, they're all nice guys. He got thrown under a bus. They didn't do him right on the way out. For as nice and as cordial as everybody tried to make it seem, it's a business, and they cut him. They basically just said, hey, dude, you're not good enough. You're fired, in as many, fewer words, and they sent him away.
Well, they only said that because they got Watson. They didn't land Watson. They wouldn't have cut him or traded him for nothing.
That's fair.
He was good enough for them, but you get a top 10 quarterback, you're going to make that change. Because he's not a top 10 quarterback.
But in his eyes, he just gets thrown away, right? So, of course, I'm going to fuck him up. Now, are they going to be able to do that? I am so excited for week 1 Browns defense. I am overjoyed. I think that there's going to be some guys on that defense that are ready to come for blood. Just from comments and things that have happened, and also all of the vibe stories that have been coming out. It doesn't seem like last year was super fun for anyone involved. Anyway, let's dive back to Baker just real quick, because I do have a couple nice things to say. Baker was the best quarterback of my lifetime for the Browns. He changed the team from what it was. He was a pinnacle of actually really getting this team to the next step. And that forever, we'll have to remember him for that. He was a big piece of getting this thing up and running. Outside of that, he was a good quarterback, and for that, he's rewarded with being the starting quarterback of a new team this year, I wish him the best of luck, but boy, I'm excited to see if our defense can, maybe make him eat his words a little bit week 1. Chase, what do you think? You have a dog in the fight with Mr. Mayfield?
He's in your division now.
If anyone expected Baker Mayfield to say anything different, they obviously had their head in the ground, in sand, whatever. It all goes back to playing against Kansas, where he grabbed his nuts at him. It goes back to planting the flag at Ohio State. That's literally Baker Mayfield. The guy's kind of a jerk. Did you ever see the video of him when he was going to get a DUI in college and he ran away from the cops and those cops fucked him up? I'm sorry for swearing, but literally the guy's kind of just not a great person. Do I think he deserved the way he should have been treated in Cleveland? Probably not. He was kind of treated pretty poorly. The people in Cleveland kind of suck. Just personally, I think they're not very nice people. He was hurt last year, and we gave this guy a farewell tour a few weeks before the season was over. We should get rid of this guy. He's a clown. He's bad. And it's you're making the guy go out there and play when he's hobbled. You said the same things about Odell Beckham, and he was also hurt. You're just attacking these players because they're not playing up to the potential of, when Baker was in college, he was so good. It's yeah, he's still that kind of player, but you're expecting him to play at 120% when he's 85% healthy. Your expectations for these people are just, delusions. It's delusional kind of at a certain point. Do I expect Baker to come out and do great things? I don't know. I hope so. I hope he's good. I hope he was good when he played for Cleveland. I don't have hate in my heart towards any professional athlete. I want all of them to succeed. If he wants to throw for 5,000 yards this year, go for it, buddy. I don't care.
Except for Karis LeVert.
Karis LeVert just stinks at defense.
I saw the hate. I saw the hate in your heart.
But for Baker Mayfield, not a good person, kind of a jerk. Do I want him to not succeed? Nah, man, go for it. Except for if he's playing the Atlanta Falcons, go screw yourself, buddy.
Twice a year, baby.
But when it comes down to it, week 1, Panthers, Browns, Christian McCaffrey, that's pretty much the X factor in that always. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. If he's good, he's good.
Yeah, that's the thing about Baker. And first off, he is a nice guy. Ask the people at Cheesecake Factory. Second off, so he's like fiery dude, man. You get what you get. Here's the thing. I am kind of scared he comes out and fucks him up because he is that dude that will buckle it up and strap that helmet on and go out there and just play out of his mind.
For one game.
Whatever chip, for whatever chip he has on his shoulder. Now, I think we live in a whole different world. There's another multiverse out there where he actually sits down, had the surgery. We have the backup come in who plays good for us. We probably win 1 extra game, if not 2. He comes back healthy at the end of that season, and we make the playoffs, and his job's not in question.
Yeah.
So that's something that happened. I could have seen that play out. So
I fully support that. 100%.
That could have happened.
At the second that he was hurt, I forget what week it was. Was it
it was 6? I think, right?
It was after they played. He had that crazy game against the Chargers where him and Herbert were just duking out, and Njoku had a crazy game. He had almost 200 yards receiving, and Chubb had a great game. And the Browns, after that game, I thought it was going to be great. I thought the Browns were going to be hot and it was going to be good. And after that, it's if you're number 1 pick. If you're a number 1 pick, obviously, the first pick of an organization, Heisman Trophy winner, blah, blah, blah. If he's hurt and you know that he's hurt, you sit him down, you say, we're not playing you, get the surgery, and if we make the playoffs, come back and play. If we don't, get back at it. Next year, we'll do it. But I don't think the org felt that way, and that's why they moved on.
Yep, agreed. All right, Colton, what else you got left, bud? What else you want to chat about?
So my list is I've got a little bit of something about head coaches in the NFL, but before we get to that, Chase, you had sent me a text about one Mr. Brian Robinson. I just want to see, what are your thoughts on this situation? There's another did you see that sort of news, and from our beloved guest Chase Winters, what is your actual did you see that?
Personally, I watched the preseasons of the Commanders, and I thought that for sure, without a doubt, Brian Robinson was stealing that job from Antonio Gibson, 100%. That guy ran harder than Antonio Gibson has ever ran for the Washington football team or the Commanders ever. This guy looked like he actually knew how to run the ball and ran the ball with a purpose. Seeing the news of him being harmed in an attempted robbery absolutely hurt me, and just was I thought this guy was it. I thought he was potentially going to be a guy that they could rely on in
Harmed
Washington.
Is light. I think harmed is a very light way to put what actually happened to him. You can say it. He was shot in a carjacking.
I'm just
insane.
saying it the way that is coming to me.
Oh,
but
it's wild.
From watching this guy play in the preseason and just seeing it, it's that guy is what, the 2 or 3 in Washington. I'm going to look out for that guy. I think because I have a dynasty draft coming up this weekend, and I was that guy was probably I don't know, 5th or 6th on my board for if I can get to him and it's not costly, like that's a steal for me. Like that's a diamond in the rough. And after watching him play in the preseason, I was like, man, if this guy doesn't make it for Washington, he'll make it somewhere else. I believe that he could play elsewhere. And just seeing that's like, dude, that's devastating. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Like, everyone can make jokes about things like that and whatever, but like, I thought that guy had a lot of potential. Like, would have rode the potential, would have rode out all the way out into the sunset.
Do you think he's done?
Guy.
Do you think he's gone?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, he's on the pup. So what? That's 4 weeks, right? At least.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any solid reports about him not coming back. Yeah. But boy, is that a really hard. He's at the bottom of a hill right now. He's going to climb that thing.
If that guy rehabs and gets back the same way that he runs through the tackles and just powers through, like, he'll definitely be back. I wouldn't question it, one or two times. Like, he's obviously wants to play. It's just a really unfortunate thing to happen to someone that had a lot of potential.
100%.
Yeah, I'm worried about his health, but I'm really more worried about your health if you are watching full Commander preseason games. You may want to go speak to a specialist.
I honestly have a lot of time on my hands after I get off work at 5 o'clock. And if there is a preseason game on, I will sit here and tinker with whatever I have going on. I'm playing video games and I'm watching, and it's just like, if I hear just a little bit of something, I can look over and I can be like, oh, you know what? That looks good. And you just pay attention for about 10 minutes and then you can go on your merry way.
Yeah, I thought I was bad. I was at a nephew or a niece's birthday party this summer and streaming the Cavs Summer League games on my phone. And people are like, what are you watching? I'm watching the Summer League. What are you talking
watching
about?
The Utah Jazz's newest player play basketball in the middle of the summer.
Exactly. Oh, man.
That's a very normal thing to do. My brother and I in 2019, 2020, we were going to go to Summer League in Vegas. And of course, awesome. Whenever that was, it got ruined because of COVID and whatever. But I would love to go to Vegas for Summer League. I just like basketball. Basketball is so much fun to watch, and seeing like a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids coming straight out of college to come play, like, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, all those sponsors out there, if you want to sponsor us, we will go cover Summer League next year. We just need 3 tickets and a hotel.
Did you see that? C as in the letter C, sports@gmail.com. Shoot us an email if you have questions and or sponsorships. Chase, is there anything? Ryan,
I got one more thing. So I said I was going to handwrite thank you notes to all the subscribers. Up to 12 now, just saying double digits. The first one that we had subscribe, Dax Noy. So, hey, Dax, shout out to you, bud. Thanks for being on there. Clicking on subscribe button. You need any fantasy help, you shoot us a text message or email and we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, thank you so much. We've literally doubled the subscriber count in a week. Not that we're watching, but a lot of you are our friends. We're excited. We know you, and we're talking shit for fun here on a fun sports podcast. So come join us, and maybe you can hop on sometime too. Chase, any final words before we cut this thing off?
Final words.
Yeah, leave us with a soliloquy of some sort.
The only thing that I can say is that I think that people are looking down upon the Jets defense, and I say don't doubt the Jets. You can say whatever you want about Zach. I'm not a big fan of Zach, but I love Sauce Gardner, and I think Sauce Gardner is the next big thing. Jets defense is the next hot thing. I see a lot of people talking mad junk about the Jets, talking mad junk about the Jaguars on the internet. That's good defense.
Wow. Okay, so where do you have the Jets in the East then?
Oh, I'm not talking about like the team as a whole. I'm just talking about defense. Just strictly defense.
I'm not saying they're good.
They are not on the bottom end of defenses. That's where I will lay that at.
Yeah, I'm worried that high. Yeah, they might just be on the field too much.
That's the offense's fault. It's kind of like how the old Browns were when you had
old Browns, new Browns.
Charlie Fry throwing the ball around and just like 3 and out. And it's like, well, this defense is so good. It's like, well, if they're not on the field for 45 minutes a game, they would be really good.
Question.
Yeah, I can't talk about Charlie Fry. He's a high school nemesis. So sorry, Chuck.
So with the Jets in the East, do they let the Bills score more than 28 points both games this season? Since their defense is so solid, I would say that they're. Yeah, I'm saying they're scoring more than 28. That's a touchdown a quarter. That's really high for the NFL, actually.
It depends on if they have the fluke game like they did against the Jaguars last year, where the game was like 10-6 or something like that.
That's fair. Could the Jets do it? Is the defense that strong? That's my biggest thing. We're going up against number one offense twice.
I'm vouching for the Jets more than I vouch for the Jaguars.
Fair. All right. Well, I mean, if that's the bar, it's a low. Yeah, I'm just like, what a low bar.
This is a really low bar.
What a low
bar. The bar's here, and the ground is right here. So it's not saying much of anything at all. It's just I think that the Jets are not as bad as anyone says they are.
Okay, last NFL question since we got the Falcons expert. What's the Falcons record at the end of the year? Where do you land?
Yes, please.
Depends on when Desmond Ridder starts playing football.
Oh, okay. How many games into the season before we see Desmond Ridder for the Falcons?
When's their bye weeks? Do we know when their bye week is?
I will look right now. Their bye. I'm not seeing it.
14.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
It's too late.
It's right before Thanksgiving.
Trade deadline? Is that fair?
That's like Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
Week 8, week 9, something like that. I don't know. I don't want to see Desmond Ridder, to be completely honest with you, but I think at a certain point the people will just say, well, what do we get Marcus Mariota for? It's like, well, you got him because we didn't know we were going to draft Desmond Ridder. That's why.
All right. Well, we started down this road, and I kind of want to do it now. I'm going to read you the schedule. I want you to tell me win or loss, and you tell me at which point you've lost enough in a row that you throw in Desmond Ridder. Week 1, you're playing the Rams.
That's week 2. Okay.
Week 2, Seahawks.
That's a W.
Win 1-1. We're playing the Browns. Week 3.
That's a loss.
1-2. We're playing the Buccaneers. Week 4.
That's a loss.
1-3.
Julio
49ers.
Jones revenge game.
Yeah, exactly.
49ers. That's a loss.
1-5. Bengals.
That's a loss.
1-6. Panthers.
I think that's where he starts. Week 8.
That's probably it. Now that you're in the division.
He's lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Or 5 in a row.
Yeah, right around the trade deadline, week 8. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're looking for Halloween weekend against Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. Desmond Ridder, suit up, baby. And just for fun, we'll roll through the rest of the schedule. Chargers.
That's a loss.
A loss. Panthers again. We're going to give you a 1.
Depends on the Christian McCaffrey.
They're going to win one of those.
They're winning one of the two. The Bears. Coin flip.
Win.
Commanders.
Where's it at?
It's Bears at Falcons.
Yeah, that's a Falcons win.
Falcons at Commanders.
Win.
Yeah.
Steelers at home.
That's a win.
Saints.
That's a loss.
Ravens.
That's a loss.
Cards.
Wait, when is this?
It's the last 2 weeks of the season, so these are weeks 17, 18. January 1st, you're playing New Year's Day against the Cards.
The only time that they would beat the Cardinals is in the month of November because Call of Duty comes out then, and Kyler Murray sucks when Call of Duty comes out. That's all I got to say about that.
He'll be well leveled up by then, prestige 3 times.
He'll be
at your ass on New Year's Day.
He'll be fine.
And then
that's a loss for the Cards.
January 8th, final game.
That's another loss.
It could be a win.
Tom Brady.
There's a case for a win. He might be.
They could be set.
Even then, if at that point the Buccaneers have won 11 games, 12 games by then. It's still Julio Jones is probably like, nah, fuck them. I'm probably going to score like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to finally score a touchdown in this building since I never did while I played for them.
It's the premise of I have Tom Brady, I'm going to play. And even if it's not Tom Brady, even if it's, the third or they have the punter, lining up behind the second string line, he'll probably catch a pass from the punter.
Best case scenario, we're talking 4 to 5 wins, and I'm looking right now. Falcons next year they'll be in play for a top pick. If Ridder starts and plays well, he's going to hurt you. So
and Ridley's coming back.
Yeah, Ridley's over there throwing dice in the corner. He'll be back soon too. So
I mean, they'd probably get rid of him. Let's be honest. At that point,
we'll see what happens. Well, Chase, I appreciate you hopping on the pod. It's been a crazy day. This was an awesome podcast, and we're going to have a lot to talk about between now and the start of the NBA season. The NFL season is coming. Major League Baseball is rolling, and the Guardians are playing well. So definitely tune back in to this podcast. Ryan, any final thoughts?
No, buddy. Good time seeing you. Chase, thanks for hopping on, bud. We'll catch you guys early next week.
Heck yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Better off. Thank you, guys. Peace.